Professional knowledge.
Research.
CRA.
Skills.
Employment Strategies 101.
Welcome to the Professional Business Communications presentation on Employment 101. In today's lesson, we will share highly effective strategies to ensure gainful employment in a competitive market.
Throughout our research, we have discovered 5 essential steps in preparing for the interview process and ultimately obtaining employment. Step 1, research the company. Step 2, CRA, cover letter, resume, and application. Step 3, professional attire. Step 4, communication. And Step 5, follow-up.
Up next, we'll take a closer look at these 5 essential steps.
In preparation of a job interview, one should research the company in which they are applying. This shows the employer your dedication, enthusiasm, and that you are serious about this career.
Generally, before an interviewer meets the applicant face-to-face, they are introduced to their cover letter, resume, and application, also known as the CRA. Knowing that these are the first impression the interviewer has of you, you want to make sure they are both professional and free of errors. Your first impression in the business world is critical. So let's take a look at the cover letter. What should it include? If your cover letter includes the following, you're in fantastic shape. Your resume is the document that discloses all of one's experience and all of your academic achievements. A standard resume should include the following: contact information, job objective, summary of qualification, work experience, work history, education, special skills and abilities, references. When filling out an application, one needs to remember to write in high diction and to not leave an empty space.
During a job interview, the way you dress influences the employer's impression of you. Dressing professionally shows the employer that you are serious about this career and it's something that you are very passionate about.
When communicating, one needs to remember that others interpret your message based on the following data. 55% is body language, 37% is tone, 8% is the words you say. As you can see, body language is the leading attribute one is looking for in a conversation. So be aware of how you are holding yourself, as this shows a lot about you.
All right, welcome to the interview panel.
Thank you for coming today.
Oh, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, my name is Charles Appleberry.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, I'm Cindy. Nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.
Excuse me?
Just a moment, please. Hello? Oh, no, I'm busy. Really?
Excuse me?
Tell me more. Can I not finish a phone call?
Sorry, we're on the schedule, so. All right, nice to meet you.
Welcome to the interview.
Thanks for having me back.
Thank you. Thank you.
So why don't you tell me a little about yourself?
Well, throughout my tenure in high school, I always wanted to work in a business environment. I've been in various business classes and played multiple sports shows such as football, basketball, and track and field. I believe I can use my knowledge and sense of commitment for the job.
Awesome. Excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the question?
Why don't you tell me a little about yourself?
I can tell you a whole lot about myself if that's what you want. I can't tell a little, go big or go home, but I'm only here to get paid. So, to be honest with you, that's why I'm here.
What are your greatest weaknesses?
Well, throughout all of my greatest endeavors, I can determine that my greatest weakness would be my public speaking. Although it is something that I have not fully overcome, it's not something that will hinder my abilities.
I don't have any weaknesses. I'm like Superman without kryptonite. You feel me? No? Okay, well, I'm just better.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
My time has been done.
Only 5% of all the people who have been interviewed have taken the time to follow up.
Do you want to get ahead of the game? Make sure you write a thank you letter within 3 days. This will show the employer that you are highly interested in the job.
Be sure to create and mail the thank you letter within 24 hours, reiterating to the employer your high level of interest in the company and to include anything you may have left out during the interview. Be sure to keep your correspondence short. You can also review sample thank you letters at www.about.com/jobsearch.
Hi Cindy, thank you for agreeing to come into the interview. As a completion of our audience viewing for our lesson, we wanted to tie them into a real story about a real student who actually went out for an interview in a competitive market, since that's what our lesson was about. So can you share a little bit with us about what happened recently when you went out for a job interview to a very large corporation here in town?
Well, actually, I just went into an interview. It was an open interview to the community, so there was about 80 applicants that went in that day. It was they gave you the application and they gave you the interview right then and there.
So the application and the interview was on the spot. So you weren't prepared, you didn't know that in advance as far as what they were going to do. So how did you prepare yourself? And using some of the tools we learned in class and what we presented in this lesson, what did you do to prepare?
Well, I actually did go in dressed professionally because you never know what will happen. So I did go in dressed professionally. I actually wanted to be sort of prepared. I didn't know that they were going to do an interview right then and there. So I took a resume, I did a cover letter, and I also did my research.
Did your research?
Yes.
Okay, so how was the research composed, or where exactly did you go to? Because that's something else we're pointing out for the students and our viewers who are watching. How important is research, and how did it help you?
Since it was my first job, I didn't know what to expect. So I actually sought guidance from my PBC teacher, and I asked her for guidance, and I told her what I needed to do, and because it's my first job, I don't know what I'm going to have to do, what to say, what to wear. So she said, do your research. And I said, okay, well, all right, I'm going to go home, do some research on the company. So I did. I looked at the mission statement and the background information of this company to, try to impress whoever was interviewing me.
Very good. So you found out some history, you found out their mission and vision statement, when the company was started, who the CEO is, all these important features. Whether they're going to ask it or not, you have some background knowledge of the company, which can be very helpful. So let's move it forward to the interview process then. You're there, there's over 80 applicants. Were they going to do panel interviews or individual one-to-one interviews?
Well, actually, they had both managers there. So it was the assistant manager, so it was the manager and the assistant manager, but they were each interviewing, individually. So I went in, I, introduced myself, hi, nice to meet you, and I gave her my resume, and she said, oh, I'm not going to need your resume today, we actually don't ask for a resume. And she started asking me all these questions, like why do I want to work there, what kind of things I'm looking to do in the future, which was actually very like, oh wow, like she's asking me what I want to do in the future. So
very good.
Yes, so I mentioned the mission statement. I told her, well, she asked me like what do I want to do, like why I want to work there, and I said, well, as you guys say in your mission statement, that you guys are offering community service to to everybody, to the customers.
So they reach out. They reach out through as a
So
business.
the customer is very important there.
Okay.
So she was like, oh wow, okay. And the manager, the main manager there, he stopped his interview, turned to me, and said, oh, hold on, excuse me, to the other person, and was like, oh, did you just say that you read our mission statement? And I said, yeah, I did. And he's like, they looked at each other like, whoa, that's impressive.
Very impressive.
So I knew right away. I was like, okay, I did something. Yeah, I did something right. Yeah. So
very good. So you found, and that builds up your confidence then while you're in there too.
Yeah.
So having some knowledge, you obviously practice some interview questions, being prepared for any number of questions that they could ask you. But as it came down to those 80 applicants, and here it is a very low economy right now, difficult. You probably had, what do you think the age range was of people that were interviewing?
Oh, there was a big, age differences.
So there had some college graduates?
Yes.
Some adults who were
Yes.
out of work? So you were competing not just with high school students, but with a wide variety in age, a plethora of people and ages.
Yes.
So what did it finally come down to? After the interview process was over, you did your research, you did your homework, you were prepared with your resume. Did you happen to take in certificates too?
Yes,
Things that
I
you
did.
accomplished?
I did.
Okay, so you had your certificates, all that information, felt confident in the interview. What happened as the end result?
Well, they ended up hiring 3 high school students, and everybody else was like college graduates and people that were much older.
So total, out of those 80 people, how many actually got hired?
Well, they hired 7, and they only stuck with 5 because the other 2 they ended up doing something else. I guess
Didn't qualify with their
They
references?
didn't qualify.
Probably in the background checks.
Yes.
Okay, well, this is very exciting. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Proud of you.